Commissioner Nancy Jester, and welcome to Nancy Jester Reports for Tuesday, July 18th, 2017. Today we met, your Board of Commissioners met as a committee of the whole, where we receive information and reports and go over our agenda for our next board meeting. So today we received an update from the Department of Health about the mosquito issues and abatement in DeKalb County. If you, they give us a nice presentation, and a lot of the facts and information that is contained in this particular slideshow they gave us is available on their website. You can go to www.decabhealth.net. You can also call their Division of Environmental Health at 404-508-7900. They can help you if you've got questions, need information, or want to report a site that you think needs attention. If there's some dumping, particularly tire dumping, anything that can collect water that might need to be abated and addressed, so you can report that to them. We'll put this information up in our newsletter and our website as well. Also, they have these door hangers that if you have an HOA or a group that you want to give them to, if you get in touch with the Department of Health and the Environmental Division of Environmental Health, I'm sure they can help you get some of these. These talk about ways to protect yourself from repellents, and also a mosquito prevention list, and it kind of goes through and tells you to think about these types of things, making sure you're turning the water out of sometimes things you don't even think of. You know, if you had bird baths and even some types of leaves, if you want to look at, you know, abating some of that, if you have rain barrels or things that can get, you know, collect even little amounts of water. That is where mosquitoes can breed, and of course they carry with them a lot of diseases. So I thank the board for coming, or Department of Health and the Environmental Division for coming and speaking with us. That was very informative. We received one of our quarterly updates from the Decide DeKalb group, that's the development arm for DeKalb County, and they're also the group that can do the bond for lease transactions, which is essentially results in an abatement of taxes. And so while they encourage economic development, I'm always very concerned about any erosion in our tax base. It's a balance. You certainly don't want to see too much of that. And so they went over what's coming through the pipeline and how many things they've done with and without any sorts of bond deals, and how much investment that has attracted, how many new jobs have been attracted or retained. Right now they've got $340 million in new and expanded capital investment. They have 1,500 new or retained jobs for this year. Their goal is 3,000, and their goal for investment is $400 million. So they've done some good things. So it was good to have an update from them, so we can track their progress as well. Let's see, and we talked a good bit about the Film Commission with them as well, because the that's an economic development activity that encourages and tries to coordinate filming activity in DeKalb County, including with the cities in DeKalb. They often have their own film permitting group within the city, but the county receives so many inquiries, tries to also coordinate with the cities. So we went over a number of agenda items. We will have a number of public hearings next week on our agenda for traffic calming devices. We have a couple in District 1 over in the Embry Hills area, and then there are a number of them in District 3. We are also going over our consolidated plan for housing and urban development. It's federally funded, so I'm looking for that. We didn't get that. So it's deferred, but we should be looking at that in the next couple of meetings. We have some grants that we're taking in for the court system, and just a few other purchasing items that have been sent to committee. The biggest we dealt with in the Public Works Committee today, so I'll tell you about that. I do sit on that committee, and it was for a change order to the contract with CH2M Hill to manage our consent decree program. The consent decree program is that federal agreement we have with the federal government through the federal court system with the EPA and the EPD of Georgia regarding our sanitary sewer spills. So we have to clean and upgrade and do a lot of things to our sewer system to upgrade it, because we had really fallen behind over the years. So we're under that federal mandate. CH2M Hill has been managing this, and They've been actually now working out of scope and out of the parameters of the contract that we previously had. So we are looking at a change order to catch them up on the actual expenditures that they have incurred, as well as expand the scope to match more of what they're actually doing. So this is the first time we're looking at these changes. So I'm going through them in a very detailed way. We're taking our time on it. My concern is that the contract is going to expire next year, not even a year away, and that would force us to have a change, or not force us, but it would force us perhaps to have to go through a new procurement process for a new consent decree manager, project management group, and I'm concerned about that. So I don't understand why we're not going to extend the time as well as the scope right now. So we'll see. I've got a lot of questions about that. So we also had a Finance Audit and Budget Committee meeting today, and today we went over we had a purchasing item that was deferred, but we talked about two policies that we're trying to codify, the investment policy and the debt policy. So we got some details there, and I'm looking for some edits to come back in our next meeting. And we also know that we're going to have a reporting policy come up, and a P card policy and a travel policy coming before us soon. They're not yet vetted yet for us to review, but those are upcoming things. So that was a very helpful meeting. We also agreed as a committee to write a letter to the CEO to ask about the status of a permanent CFO. We still do not have a permanent CFO. We went all of 2016 without a permanent CFO. We still have an interim. We've been more consistent with that interim this year, so I'm thankful for that. But I want to know if that interim is going to be made permanent, which would be fine, or if there's going to be another process to select a permanent CFO. So we'll be writing a letter as a committee to the CEO and asking him about that. And just in closing, had a really great meeting with Grady yesterday, so I just thought I'd mention that. As always, I'm very thankful for when they come and update us on all the good work they do and all the philanthropy they've brought into the system, and how they're continuing to manage their healthcare portfolio. So with that, I'll close, and join me next week for another edition of Nancy Jester Reports.